back to another video from HSTV, and in today's video, as you can see by the video title, I'm going to be sharing 5 transferable skills that I believe I have gained or improved at or developed over the past few months doing my intercalation degree. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know who I am, first of all, go and subscribe. Second of all, my name is Heen. I'm a third year medical student at the University of Edinburgh, and currently I'm doing my intercalation in a BMed Sci in surgical sciences. And this is April now, so besides a dissertation and one exam, that will be my kind of intercalation done, right? So what have I really gained over the past 7-8 months? And whenever we hear about intercalation, especially for medical students, it's always kind of advertised as you gain transferable skills, you get better at research. So I want to sort of touch on that today and kind of let you guys know how I found intercalation, and if it's something that maybe you should consider as well, because at Edinburgh it's compulsory, but for most other medical schools it's an optional thing, and I know a lot of students do weigh it up. So I hope that you'll find this interesting. Alright, so skill number 1 that I believe I have gotten a lot better at is critically appraising papers. It's almost like how to read a paper properly, how to be skeptical of where things don't quite look right and where results could be presented in a biased way. This is really important nowadays, especially because medicine is not only about what you read in textbooks, it's not only what you are taught in lectures, it's about evidence-based practice as well. And a lot of physicians and surgeons across the world now are increasingly having a much more personalized practice based on what they're reading. But there's a whole other issue with that, because research can be quite a politically based business for some people, right? So the way that sometimes research is presented is in a very biased way to make things look in their favor when it's not. So that can be very dangerous for patients, and even if you are reading a paper from a peer-reviewed journal that has is referenced a lot and it's very well known, something like the BMJ or the Lancet or something, I've learned to still read those papers with a lot of depth and really try to pick out where there could be bias and where the authors could be trying to twist their results in a certain way, and how to interpret that data. And I'll be talking about data interpretation later on as well. But critically appraising papers, as much as I found that annoying in the beginning, I'm like, what is the point of critically appraising papers that have already been published? 1, 2, they've been published by people who are older than me, more senior than me, more experienced than me, and 3, they're being published in really well-known journals who have authentic, reliable data on them already. But honestly, like, some of the papers you might find and you might read, no matter how well known of a journal they've been published in, it can be biased, and it's really important to look out for that. So as a medical student now, I want to get into the swing of like reading papers on a regular basis, so that when I do get to being a doctor or a surgeon, then I can inform my practice for the best of my patients. So skill number 2 that I kind of already really love to do, but I didn't really get a good opportunity to do this during my first and second year of medical school, is doing presentations. So I know that I love doing my whole YouTube thing where I'm just talking in front of a camera, but I actually love public speaking. I used to do a lot of debating in high school, and I love like talking to audiences, motivational talks, and lecturing and teaching. I love that sort of thing. But unfortunately, in year 1 and 2 of medical school, I never really got the opportunity to do that. Now, I understand that COVID kind of had an impact on that, and we would have had some more opportunities. However, in intercalation, I have done, I don't know, like 3-4 presentations, and it's been really fun. I've loved developing my public speaking skills, I've loved developing my confidence, and more than that, actually, the creativity that goes behind preparing a presentation. So most of these presentations I had to make like a poster for or PowerPoint slides for, and honestly, I've moved away from using Microsoft PowerPoint. I permanently use Canva now. So that is the software or a website that actually all of you can access. I use it to make my YouTube thumbnails. That's where I got into it, and then I got really good at using it, and I was like, you know what, why not make my presentations on this? Because I learned that presentations, a good presentation, has to be graphical and it has to be visual. And I'm a visual learner, right? I love using my hands, so I'm a kinesthetic learner, and I love being visual. So if I can see it, I can be it, I can understand it. So that's kind of why I love doing presentations, and I think Intercalation really gave me the opportunity to develop that in a non-pressurized environment, because sometimes medical school can be really hectic, so you're not really thinking about how to make a good presentation, you're just thinking about how to meet a deadline. Whereas for my Intercalation, I did a critical appraisal presentation. Really enjoyed it. That was really good. It was like a journal club, so that in itself was a combination of critical appraisal and presentation combined, and it's something that I know a lot of groups and societies do past medical school as well, so that was really good. Another good presentation I remember was for my elective, for my cardiovascular and pharmacology therapeutics elective. We were we were assigned to be a pharmacy, a pharmacological brand, and we had to, a company, and we had to be making this new medicine for pulmonary hypertension. So, that's really like innovative, it's fun, it's creative, and I think it's really important to have a creative side. I know I do YouTube as my creative outlet, but I almost feel that presentations are like that as well. I also did other presentations on actually presenting my project as well. That was really cool. I got to talk about all the great things I've been up to this semester. So it's been a range of presentations, but I've loved all of them, and I think it's so important to bring out that confidence. And I know presentations are not for everyone. Everyone does not like public speaking, but honestly, like from all the people I spoke to, we really liked it, speaking about it afterwards at least. Okay, so skill number 3, another really big one, is Python coding. So Python coding is a programming computer language. It's got so many uses, and it's not only for those who are studying computer science or who want to be software engineers. It's not for just those guys. In medicine as well, when you're using RStudio or SPSS, or if you're using, for example, in my project, I'm using computational modeling to look at atrial fibrillation mechanisms in the heart. So electrophysiology and all that is all moved very much online. There's a whole network of bioengineers working. There's a whole network of computer engineers working together to create these models that ultimately are going to benefit patients. So I know that sometimes these models are not fully reflective of the patient's situation, but that's because we're quite in the early stages still. But having that skill of Python coding, and I am no expert by any means, the last time I sort of touched upon coding was when I was maybe 15, 16, something like that. So coming back to it after a few years, it was really nice. And at first I was quite hesitant, but my whole project was based around Python coding, and it definitely gave me a good idea and a good perspective on the potential that Python coding has. And there's so many online courses available nowadays as well that are completely free. You don't even have to go to uni. So it definitely showed me, this is something that could go a long way, and I got used to using some of these softwares too. So definitely Python coding is a big transferable skill, and I'm really glad that I got some experience in it this year. Okay, skill number 4, and this is the one that I said I was going to touch on afterwards, and that is about data interpretation and statistical analysis. These are scary words, okay, for a medic. I'll tell you that for sure, because medics, we sort of feel that we just learn the physiology, we learn the anatomy, and if we're doing research, we will hire a statistician to come interpret our results and give us the best statistical test to use. However, it's so important, and actually it's niche, but it's unique. If you know how to interpret data, if you know how to apply statistical analysis, it's a big skill, and a lot of medics don't have it. But it's so key in informing evidence-based practice. So it kind of brings me, linking back to the critical appraisals. That's more kind of looking at things and being skeptical of what could be biased or not. But this is more about, what do the results mean? What is the p-value? What is a confidence interval? What is a Mann-Whitney U-test? Okay, because papers use these terms, and a lot of the time the people reading them, they don't understand it or they kind of bypass it. But a lot of the time when papers prove their results to be statistically significant, there could be problems there in the way that they've applied a statistical test in a very clever way to make their results seem significant. But more than that, actually, I've realized, and this was a big topic this year actually, that if you conduct a research project and you do not find statistically significant findings, that doesn't mean that your data should not be published and that it's not significant, right? Because a non-statistically significant result is still a result. So in my research in the future, if I ever get to a point where, I've done lots of trial and error, I follow the right methods, but, something doesn't correlate or, we don't have the link that we're trying to make, it doesn't meet our hypotheses, then that's still publishable data, that's still contributing something to the community, and we shouldn't just let it go because it's not statistically significant. I think it's a very overused phrase, and I've definitely become cautious of that when I interpret data, when I read papers, and when I'm kind of conducting my own research as well. Alright, and the final but not least skill that I think I've had more time to develop this year, just because this year has been less hectic, is networking. Networking is so incredibly important in any field, but especially the field of medicine, because we learn from our mentors, we learn from the people who have come before us, and it's very valuable advice and very valuable experiences that we can learn and share. So, this year, it's, especially semester 2, it's been quite chill for me. I know for some people it has been quite hectic, but the way my project was based, it was computational modeling, and I was setting up simulations and waiting a few days for them to run, and so I had some free time on my hands, and, me being me, rather than sitting there doing nothing, I, tried to explore my passion for cardiothoracics a bit more. So I reached out to mentors, I've been to conferences, I've had an opportunity to actually take research projects that I've done in year 2 of medicine, put them forward and actually present them at conferences and things. And throughout, meeting and presenting these projects and taking part in all of this, I met amazing people, really good inspirations that kind of keep my passion for medicine alive. I think sometimes medicine can be so hectic, it can be so difficult and overwhelming that you almost need to see people at the other side of the tunnel or the other side of the bridge to say, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And I told you, I'm a visual learner. So if I can see someone like me who has done something that I want to do, that's definitely going to motivate me to also get there. So I've met some really inspirational people throughout this past year, and I think I think networking is a skill. You almost need to build up the courage. Like, how do you reach out to someone? What do you say in an email? Or how do you, ask questions, the right questions, and set up meetings and things like that. And they're all little things, but it's something that you just get better at, and it's so important. And I really encourage this. Doesn't matter even if you're not in medical school yet, even if you're in 6th year of your high school or whatever. Make contact, network, and put yourself out there. You will be surprised. People in the field are really encouraging, really supportive, especially in my experience. I was at the SCTS conference. Go check out the vlog, by the way, if you haven't. And I know cardiothoracics, it's always, when you hear about it, it's all kind of doom and gloom, bad work-life balance, really competitive, that sort of thing. But when I went to this conference and, the whole of the UK's, surgeons, cardiothoracic surgeons were there, and I was meeting them, they're just humans like me and you, and they're so encouraging, they're so supportive, and I felt really encouraged to be there. So it could have gone either way. I could have been put off the field completely, but I'm glad I wasn't. But no, going back to the point, networking, I have had lots of opportunities to do that, not just in medicine actually, bio engineers, computer science people, cardiovascular people as well, who are not necessarily doctors. You don't have to be a doctor to be inspirational, right? So I think Intercalation has definitely given me the time to go and put myself out there more. Alright everybody, well that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed and you found it useful to some extent as well. Maybe it can help you make a better decision about whether intercalation is for you or not. There's definitely been points in my intercalation where I've been a bit like, you know, I just really want to go back to studying medicine. And actually just earlier on today I was doing a teaching tutorial for the year ones, and I was looking back at my cardiac pharmacology notes, which is what I was going to be teaching, and you know, I just looked at the stuff and I was like, this is why I want to do medicine. And I really do miss medicine, and I really am looking forward to getting right back into fourth year with placements and getting all of that going. But I think intercalation has been a good point of reflection. Although I did something quite medically related, you know, surgical sciences is quite medicine-y, it's not quite medicine. So this is why I'm really encouraged that I've made the right decision. It's kind of reassured me that, yep, my interest does lie with medicine. So that's been really good. But then on top of that, I've had the time to really put myself out there and you know, gain all these great skills that I really hope I will use in my future practice. And you know, every effort is worth something, and I'm sure it will pay off, even if it's not giving me points on my portfolio anymore, which is a bit of a pity, but honestly I do think it's been worth it. And I would encourage people to go for intercalating if they can, of course. It's a good opportunity if you have it. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.